Well, um, so I hope you enjoyed that little section on how to build uh, a major key very simply, just starting on any note you want it, using the 12 notes of the chromatic scale, repeating the one you started on, and then just counting up you by 2 2 1 2 2 2 1. That's your major scale formula. You can come up with anything. Now we are going to build see how we can see all the keys. What are the keys? Okay, now we're going to move on. We have two more sets of charts. We're going back to this one, the musical alphabet. Now, I'm sure you remember this page. But now that you've been through this, I'm going to ask you what's wrong with this picture. Okay, it's a nice picture. It shows us our 8 degrees. We have our tonic and our higher tonic. We have our dominant. We have between the dominant and the tonic, the median. We have our subdominant. Between our subdominant and our higher tonic, we have another median, the submedian. Subdominant, submedian. Now we have two more. Supertonic, it's above. Super, it's above. Subtonic, it's below. But that's if there's two half spaces. If there's one half space, it's a leading tone. All right, so we've covered that twice. Now, remember, this is what's wrong. This right here is what was wrong with that picture. See what we have? It looks like the space from the C to the D is the same as the space from the E to the F, where actually that is not true. The space from the C to the D is twice the space from the E to the F. And see right there? That is literally exactly twice the space. That's why I drew these charts up. I learned music theory like I know it now because I have spent hours making charts, all kinds of charts like this. I'm a visual learner. I know a lot of people are. So if you're a visual learner, this is huge to you. If you're not a visual learner, this could still help you a lot. So now I want you to notice the A relative minor, that these, the 7, the 6, and the 3, that's where the G, the F, and the C should be, right? If it was major. So we have flatted those notes relative to the A major scale, the key of A. It's been flatted. Those 3 notes were flatted to get to A minor. Now, when we get into modes, we're talking about keys right now. And there's a very good reason why keys are named after the major scale or the Ionian. However, if you want to call something the key of A minor, just remember that you've got 2 different names for one key. There's only one key. This set of notes is the key. I don't care what order you put them in. There's only one key. I call it the key of C. And there's a very good reason for that. But if you want to call it the key of A minor, knock yourself out. You want to call it the key of E Phrygian, it's the same key. You want to call it the key of G Mixolydian, great. If anybody knows what you're talking about when you say the key of B Locrian, good for them. I don't know why you'd want to use 7 names for one key, but you could Yeah, technically, it does have 7 names because they never gave the keys any special name other than the major scale. And so why nowadays do people constantly call it the key of A minor? I don't know. It's not a key. You can call it scale of A minor. You can call it the relative minor, A relative minor. You can call it A Aeolian, a mode of this key. Anyway, each to his own. So let's move on. So why is C first? More historical confusion, or is that hysterical confusion? It's true. I'll make a video later about why. It's not very technical and it's not very interesting. It's that they had already named the notes when this was set up as we're seeing it. The octave and these intermediate harmonious notes and the major scale, the whole, half, whole, half. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1 half steps. That's why we end up calling this a half step, because it was already determined by the time we realized, nobody did this in a logical order. And the same thing, it ended up, they did start with the A. Unfortunately, they started with the A minor scale. So when we get to the major scale, all of a sudden, it's a C. So, yeah. So here we go. The C is where most music theory courses start because it uses no sharps or flats. When you start on the C and stick to the natural notes, you end up with the major scale formula. So we're going to start with the C. Right there is the C. Right there is the chromatic scale above it. Here are the major scale notes that we want, the degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want you to notice, this is something that you'll see over and over again. It's the 3 and the 4 that are next to one another, and the 7 and the 8. So now, we're going to generate these keys by fifths. We've got our C. So we're going to take the fifth of C, the G, and we're going to copy the C major scale starting with G. And when we do, you'll notice that this is the only note that is not lined up with the major scale formula. Oops, we should be here. So we have to sharp this note. The 7th note goes from being a subtonic to being a leading tone, and we have 1 sharp. Now we're going to put G in place, and we're going to take its 5th. Same thing happens. Everything lines up but the 7th, so we have to sharp it. Now we still have our F sharp, and it still works. It still lines up. So now we have 2 sharps. Okay, so let's put D in place. Take its 5th, put the A down here, put in the D major scale right there, and notice, same thing. It's our 7th that needs to get sharped. We still have our F sharp and our C sharp, and they still line up with our major scale. So now we have 3 sharps. Yes, we've already looked at the A major scale. We're going to put the A major scale right here, take its 5th, put it here, and using the notes of the A major scale, we see the only one that doesn't fit is the 7th again. So we're going to sharp it, bump it up. Now, all our previous F sharp, C sharp, G sharp still fit. They still line up. So now E has 4 sharps. Let's go again. Put the E in place. Take its 5th. Here's a B. Use the E, right in the E major scale. Only the 7th doesn't line up. We bump it up. Now we have 5 sharps. Well, we're kind of done, aren't we? I mean, how can you sharpen E, right? I mean, look, where's our E? If you sharp the E, you bump into an F. If you sharp the B, you bump into the C, right? What's up with that? Well, let's find out. Let's just take and put our B scale in there. Take our 5th, it's an F sharp. And write out the B scale, and all we've got, just like before, our 7th needs to be bumped up. Well, okay, let's call it an E sharp. We already went over this. We can raise that by half a step and put a sharp sign in front of it, and we can call that note an E sharp. I like to call E sharp, B sharp, or F flat, C flat. I like to call them imaginary notes. They're legitimate names, but we don't normally use them. But in the F sharp scale, we have to use an E sharp. Okay, so let's just go as far as we can. Let's take the F sharp and put it in here. Take its 5th, C sharp, drop it down here. And one more time, our 7th has to be sharped, and look at what we've got. We have 7 sharps. C started off with 7 natural notes, so why wouldn't 7 sharp notes work? Well, it does. Now, we will get to why I called this a sort of key. For now, I want you to notice this. We just started on the C with no sharps or flats, with no accidentals. They're called accidentals. And we went to G, it's 5th. Then we went to D, A, E, B, and finally F sharp. There was 0, 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3, 4, 5, 6 sharps, right in that order. And we actually went one beyond. We went to a C sharp. Well, notice that C sharp and D flat, they're the same note. Those are 2 different names for the same note. They call that an enharmonic note. So we started here and went all the way around to here. So we have named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 keys so far. Okay? Now, the only thing that this tells you, all the information in this is very easy to determine if you remember the order of the notes. I don't use a circle of fifths because I can draw it anytime I want. All of these are obvious if you can remember this order. It's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, it's F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And that's the order. And can you do them backwards? Okay. If you know your flat keys, you can. B, E, A, D, G, C. So, let's move on